Welcome back. I My computer just froze, so I'm having to do this over again. Sorry. Uh, this is Salvation Ventures 3. We are in Unit 10. This is Part 2. Page 135. Starting again. So we are on Part C. It says Talk with a Partner, page 135. Practice the conversations. Pay attention to the unstressed vowel sounds in green. So it said the unstressed vowel sounds are going to sound like There was was. There was a lot of excitement at the community adult school yesterday. A lot of. B, what are you talking about? Next, there was a fire in the kitchen. Did the fire department come? Yes, a student heard the smoke alarm and called 911 right away. Everyone, would you please read A? B? A? D? A? The other side. Betty is going to Washington next week. Are you serious? Won't that cost a lot? Well, she probably got a cheap ticket. Is she traveling with her family? No, her husband's going to take care of the children. Your turn. Remember, you're to be reading out loud. A, B, A, B, A. Okay, I know it's a little strange, but I want to make sure that you're doing the work. D, write 5 questions. Use the words in exercise 3A. Ask a partner your questions. Remember to pay attention to the unstressed vowel. So, what makes you get upset? How about vacation? What makes you get upset using the word vacation? Okay, how about I get upset when I can't go on vacation? Or I get upset when it rains and I'm on vacation. Okay, how about police? What makes you upset using the word police? Well, right now it's easy to think of that because of what's going on national TV, right, regarding the protests and the riots. So if you say, I see a lot of police on the TV these days and it makes me upset, I get it. Okay. How about family? Upset. Okay, I get upset when family cannot be together. I get upset when my family is too far away for me to visit. Okay, photographs. What makes you upset using the word photographs? Okay, so I get upset when I have not taken as many photographs as I wish. Or I get upset when I can't fit everybody in the photograph. Right? All right, so that finishes that. We're going to stay in the book and we're going to go into the back to page 163. And in this story, these are some of the vocabulary words that we're going to find in the story. The first one is nickname. What is a nickname? It's like a special name that is not the person's real or given name, or it's a shortened version of their real name. So a simple example would be if someone's name is James and people call him Jim or Sonny, right? Or Uncle. Next one, artificial. What does artificial mean? Not real. So what is the opposite of artificial? Real. The next one, junk. What's junk? So junk is stuff. It's items. Usually it's broken, could be broken, old, rusty, not well made, cheap stuff. The next one, homeless. Person that does not have a home. And where do these people usually live? Yes, they live on the streets, under bridges. The next, covered. What does covered mean? Can't see it, right? It's hidden. The next one, guest book. It's a book where you sign your name. And where would you find a guest book? At a wedding, at a party, at an art opening, at a show. So, page 163, reading tip. Look at the title and bold-faced headings. Make a guess. Who is the article about? What will you learn about him? Read and find out. So it says the Flower Man of Houston, Texas. So what are some of the reasons as to why someone might be called the Flower Man? Anything else? So I've written down a few ideas here. One, someone who owns a flower shop might be called the Flower Man. Or someone who has a garden with only flowers in it, and it's large, and they have lots of flowers in it, so they call this person the Flower Man. The other one, someone gives someone a flower every day. No. The other, someone wears shirts with flowers on them every day, so people see that every day he's wearing a shirt with flowers, and so they call him the Flower Man. Let's read the story and find out the reason for the Flower Man's name in Houston, Texas. Everyone, a folk artist is an artist with little or no formal art education. That was not here, and I didn't put it here because it gives the explanation right here in the story. So a folk artist is someone who has not been to art school, has not taken workshops, has not taken classes. They just kind of paint in a very simple or complicated way, however they do it. There are actually many folk artists, especially here in the South. There's a man named Howard Finster, who was a very famous folk artist here in Atlanta. And when you go to the beach on the Panama Handle, there are many folk artists who sell in their work and are very charming and wonderful. So, a folk artist has a story to tell, which he tells in his art, or she. There are very famous women folk artists too. He shows through his art the culture of the people, the folk he knows best. So folk is like a little slang term for people that you know very well. Who is the Flower Man? Cleveland Turner is a well-known folk artist in Houston, Texas. His nickname is the Flower Man because he lives in a very unusual house. Cleveland's house is bright yellow. But if you decide to visit this popular tourist attraction, you might not notice the color at all. That's because Cleveland has decorated his entire house with artificial and real flowers. There are also dolls, paintings, tools, household appliances, and more covering his house. There's a red ceramic cow on the roof and art on the gate and on the fence around the yard. The yard itself is filled with unusual objects, old street signs, plastic plants, musical instruments, another red cow, and every kind of junk you can think of. How did this happen? In 1983, Cleveland was sick, homeless, living on the streets, and sleeping under bridges. A woman found him and took him to a hospital for help. While he was in the hospital, he had a dream. He saw beautiful colored flowers and junk flying around him. When he woke up, he decided to build a dream house with colorful things like the flowers and objects in his dream. The Flower Man's house is an ongoing project. It's always changing. Sometimes visitors, especially children, will take something away from the house. Sometimes visitors bring things for the house. But Cleveland says he prefers finding things himself. So every day he rides his flower cycle, his bicycle, and his only form of transportation around Houston, looking for more items to decorate his house. And yes, the flower cycle is covered in flowers from front to back. Admission to the Flower Man's house is free. If you decide to go, be prepared to meet the famous artist himself. When Cleveland is home, he often welcomes visitors personally with a smile and asks his visitors to sign his guest book. Wow, I would have never have guessed that that would be the meaning of the Flower Man of Houston. Page 164. At the bottom of the page, it has a little gray box. Let's read that for useful language, please. Phrases to cite evidence. The article states that. The author states that. So what does the word state mean? It means to tell something as it, and say, this is what I believe. And can you think of another word that goes with the word state? How about statement, right? So statement is the thing, state is the action or the verb. Check your understanding. What is the article about? Please speak out loud, create a sentence. I know I can't hear you, but I want you to have the practice of forming a sentence in English. So the article is about a homeless man who got a house and decided to decorate it with artificial and real flowers and junk that he finds around the city of Houston. Number 2, according to the article, what is a folk artist? Subject, verb, and a complete sentence, please. Yes, a folk artist is an artist with little or no formal art education, no formal schooling. Number 3, what does Cleveland Turner's yard look like? I can only guess what some of you are saying, right? So his house and his yard is full of stuff, and some of it might be called what? Junk, because it's stuff that he finds, articles, things that he finds all around the city streets of which city? Houston. And where is Houston? In what state? Texas. Okay. Number 4. Why did Cleveland Turner decide to decorate his house the way he did? He decided to decorate use the words in the question. He decided to decorate his house the way he did because he had a dream when he was in a hospital. 5. If you visit Cleveland Turner's house, you might not notice the color of the house. Why might you not notice the color of the house? That's right, because there's so much else to look at, and because it's probably covered up with stuff or junk. So, build your vocabulary. We started to do that here. So the nickname, his nickname is the Flower Man. What is the dictionary definition? An informal name for someone. So a nickname is very informal. Number 2, artificial. What is it? Not real. Junk. What was the clue in paragraph 2? Old. Plastic, right? So unusual objects. What is junk? The formal definition? Old or useless, of little value. Homeless. What word did they use in this article? Living on the streets, sleeping under bridges. And the dictionary definition, without a home. Now, this is kind of unusual. Look at the word for number 5. That's right. What does it need? A D. It's a typo, typographical error. Okay, so covered means concealed or hidden. Cannot see it. 6, guest book. Book to sign your name. And the dictionary definition, when I looked it up, was visitors sign their names, addresses, and they can also leave remarks. So what is a remark? Yes, it's a thought or idea that you had about what you have just seen. So you can say, I thought this was wonderful. This was very unusual. I'm happy when I'm here. Whatever thought or idea comes to your head is a remark that you're going to leave in the book. Okay, so find each of the following academic words in the article and underline the sentence. What is the first word? Culture. And where is that? First paragraph. He shows through his art the culture of the people. The next one, items, things. Next, ongoing. And last, project.